Okay, everyone, I am here to talk about Module 11, my case study, Every Day Counts. I am Kaylee Steinfort, and this is for AEP 858VA with Dr. Ryan. Okay, so, first and foremost, it is important to summarize the case and establish the facts. So, for this case, Golden Oak High School was the leading high school with the highest rate of attendance among all high schools in its districts for the past 10 years. However, more recently, as in the last academic year, Golden Oak High School actually had the lowest percentage of student attendance among all high schools in the district, with approximately 85% of the student population missing 10 or more days from the school each academic year. We have been hired as the new principal, Mr. Rhodes. Dr. Newman, the school superintendent, is extremely concerned with this student attendance issue. He's expressed to us that it's the most expressing concern to tackle, and he's made it clear that we are supposed to follow the state law, and school board policy is aligned with that. And we are also supposed to work with social services in the juvenile court system to remedy attendance issues. They also talk a lot about the extracurricular activities and sport programs at Golden Oak High School. They offer several different extracurricular activities and school programs, and that's a big part of the school. Many of the teachers, they have a low teacher turnover rate, so many of them have at least 10 years of experience inside of Golden Oak High School. And 2 of our more established teachers getting ready to retire are not accurately reporting student absences. With this high emphasis on sports, the athletic director favors varsity players and doesn't report all of those absences. The school counselor has had a negligible role in resolving issues of declining student achievement, and homeroom teachers are approving absences as excused or unexcused instead of taking them to the school principal as the policy states. So, moving on to section 2, this is where I'm going to report any legal or ethical issues. So 3 of the 5 student case records that I was given, I believe that 3 of those have some legal or ethical issues behind them. So starting with Tyrone, he's missing school to go on big vacations with his parents, and he has been out of school 14 days in 1 semester. So this denies him the access to a vital and valuable educational resource. Education is important because it's giving them the opportunity for success in their community, added opportunities for jobs and employment, and it's their right to an education in the U.S. Christina has missed 12 days in the first semester, and this is due to her minister, who is leaving notes excusing Christina for out-of-town church meetings. The locations and dates of these meetings are not provided, so she's also being denied that access to vital and effective education. And then lastly, I mentioned Carl. His parents do not believe in strong school attendance. His father personally believes that school attendance is a personal family business matter, and it's not an issue for the school or the state to be concerned with. So that's definitely a problem regarding the state law parens patriae. Parents have the duty to educate their children, and the state government can compel them to do so. So this is kind of where our issues take place. We're not physically abusing a child or mentally abusing a child, but the mental abuse is kind of coming by denying their brain and mental capacity the proper access to vital education. and that is their right within the United States. Section 3 asks to synthesize exactly what happened. So just real quick, Golden Oak High School now has the lowest percentage of student attendance, and that is our big issue. We want to synthesize the facts. So I focused on people first, and we just talk about how 85% of the school population is missing 10 or more days from school each year. We know some students are being denied that right to vital education. We don't know the exact details behind every student. We only got 5 case files. We don't know the sources of political power, and we don't know the culture norms of this population. We know some different information about the teachers that I mentioned prior. However, we don't know why the last school principal left. We don't know why the superintendent and school board have not already addressed these issues. We know about the diversity of the school and having some diverse Hispanic and Asian families present. However, we don't know why this is a recent change in the area, and we don't know gender of the students. Some regards to the place. We know that Golden Oak High School has an attendance issue. We know school board policy aligns with state law. However, we don't know where the majority of students come from. We don't know why this issue is just suddenly occurring. And we don't really know much about the school demographics. We don't even really know the location of the school. The program, we know that Golden Oak High School services 965 students in grades 9 through 12. It's a high school. We also know about the clubs and team sports that I mentioned. However, we don't know anything about the curriculum or type of program within the school. Next, Section 5 asks me to review and prioritize information. So basically here, I am just reviewing and prioritizing. There is an attendance issue. The principal, superintendent, and school board ultimately have to make the decision for what to do here. They have control. According to the case, nothing has been done in regards to reviewing or changing school policy for this issue. However, it is still our first encounter as school principal. We don't know everything there is to know. It'd be pertinent for us to meet with educators and staff, students, and parents to figure out how they feel about the issue and what their side is on it. It'd also be pertinent for us to set up a school board meeting and bring up school board policy in this issue to see what it looks like now, what changes need to be made, what is being followed at this point and what is not. We're definitely in a position where we can learn more about the situation and its vitality before we make a decision at this point. Moving on a little bit here, Section 6, some options for this issue. Number 1, nothing at all. We could do absolutely nothing. Number 2, we could take a completely opposite approach, and we could immediately turn all 5 case records and subsequent case records put on our desk to the juvenile court system, and that court system can handle those students on their own. Option 3 is an intermediate approach. We can work better to understand the issue. We can hold that school board meeting. We can talk to those educators, staff members, parents, and students. We can get more information collected before making a decision and coming up with an action plan. We can create steps and change any policies needed and create a 3-strike policy and make sure that everyone's aware of that policy before the school year starts. Okay, so let's evaluate those options. If we choose number 1, likely we're going to be fired because Dr. Newman said that this is an extremely pressing concern, and option number 1, we do nothing. If we choose option number 2, We are going to lose a lot of respect from the community, the teachers, the staff, the students. We're going to cause a lot of fear, and we could still be fired because the school board could vote against Dr. Newman and decide that I was the complete opposite and took way too harsh of an approach. If I choose option number 3, everyone involved with the issue will be made aware of the rules and policies before a decision is ever made. They'll understand who's responsible for approving school absences, myself, and the consequences for missing school. They'll understand the severity of this issue and what's going to happen if their decision to not attend school occurs. Dr. Newman will appreciate this, as well as the school board members. I'm taking the issue into my own hands to come up with a solution, but I'm making sure all pertinent stakeholders are aware of this decision before making a big, drastic change. There will also be a plan set in place to work with social services and the juvenile court system if that's needed. Okay, so choosing that best option. I think it's pretty obvious here, but I am going to choose option number 3. I think it offers the best course of action for someone like myself in this new role at Golden Oak High School and new to this community. I'm working to determine all the facts regarding the issue before acting hastily. I'm not sitting back and doing nothing, but I'm also not taking a drastic approach. It's really important when making these decisions to make sure that all stakeholders know. So that includes our students, our parents, educators, staff, administration, school board members, and the community. Everyone has to be on the same page and made aware of the policy, the repercussions, and the guidelines surrounding school attendance before we can work to solve or give any repercussions out to students. With my plan, everyone is consulted and made aware of the pertinent information, and all parents and students sign the school board policy and regulation before school even starts. Let's put this plan into place. What's going to happen if we utilize option number 3? My path, I touched on this a little bit, but I'm going to start by collecting all the information I need. Then I can work on creating a process and an action plan with a 3-strike policy and reprimands for those students. I'm going to make sure all stakeholders are consulted before this plan is put into place, and parents and students have signed this policy information so that everyone is on the same page before the academic year begins. What might happen? Everyone is going to be aware of the situation. Everyone's going to be aware of who's responsible for approving absences, myself, and the consequences and repercussions that may happen if needed. Parents and students are all going to sign school policy, so no questions should occur when these things come up. Students, staff, and educators are going to understand the severity of school attendance and who's in charge of approving those school absences. The school board members and Dr. Newman will appreciate myself taking this into my own hands and seeing that a plan is set in place and everyone's being made aware of it. Just continuing with that, who all needs to know? All major stakeholders. I've said that several times. Everyone has to be on the same page and made aware. How am I going to deal with students that breach policy? It's that 3-strike policy. So once 1 strike is earned for 3 unexcused absences, the student will meet with me as a warning. They will be reminded and shown the school policy they signed at the beginning of the year, and they will miss 1 week of school activities, including sports. If 2 strikes are earned for 5 unexcused absences, the student and their parent will meet with me as a second warning. They will all be reminded of the school policy they signed at the beginning of the year. 10 points will come off their semester grade card, and 2 weeks of school activities and sports will be missed.